Albert Camus once said, "An intellectual is someone whose mind watches itself," which is a great distinction to make because it highlights the key difference between knowledge and wisdom, where knowledge is knowing about stuff, and the more knowledge you have simply amounts to more knowing about stuff. It's basically data collecting.
Vast amounts of data at incredible speeds.
And wisdom, on the other hand, is understanding how your mind uses that data through observation. Psychologists now even have a scientific term for this mind watching itself behavior. It was introduced in the 1970s as metacognition, which, if we're in Camus' day, existentialists would have likened it to the term phenomenology. But for us, 21st century world walkers, metacognition can best be understood translated to the more frequently used term, self-awareness. Now, self-awareness is not just being capable of feeling your emotions. It's also being capable of observing yourself feeling your emotions, to be able to stand back somewhat objectively and observe thoughts as they arise. So, what is the advantage of doing this, right? Where is the wisdom and all that? Well, the wisdom here first involves being in a position to not just have beliefs, but being able to question those beliefs. You see, being an objective observer over your own mind, being self-aware, means that you're not left helplessly subject to identify yourself with a belief or thought that you have at the exact moment it arises in your consciousness. Instead, you're able to put the you who holds an identity claim on trial for further inspection. And this is a crucial point worth stressing. You cannot observe or critique what you identify with so long as you're identified with it. It's only when you step away from yourself, away from the identity claim, that you can assess it with any kind of objective power. I'll say it again just for good measure. The subject, you, must become the object if it is to be objectively observed and assessed. This is the whole power of self-awareness. Now, I'm assuming it's not necessary to thoroughly explain the value of questioning your beliefs, so suffice it to say, if you don't sufficiently practice self-awareness, you're essentially missing out on the advantage of being an evolved human, of having a nicely developed prefrontal cortex. Because the whole point of intelligence starts at self-awareness. As Aristotle once said, the mark of an intelligent person is one who can entertain a thought without accepting it. So in short, according to Aristotle and Camus, self-awareness leads you down the path to intelligence, and in turn, intelligence leads you down the path to wisdom. Now, I know this doesn't exactly get at the question I mentioned earlier, which is, where is the wisdom in that, doing all this self-awareness stuff? Well, in building self-awareness into a habit by standing outside of your beliefs, what you simultaneously build is an increasing comfort for being uncertain. Let's call this a development of healthy skepticism. Now, without healthy skepticism, bad ideas tend to prevail in the absence of good evidence. And as history has shown, a sufficient number of bad ideas is the first step toward tyranny. All that's left that's needed are the following ingredients: 1 cup of ideology, 1 to 3 servings of dogmatic leaders, pre-blended in outrage and passion for best results, a heaping spoon of public madness, a dash of passivity, all stirred well in social contagion, and voila, your well-baked tyranny. Moreover, being comfortable in uncertainty, aka being a healthy skeptic, will lead to more comfort in being wrong, and that's good for everyone, no matter who you are. Why? Because healthy skepticism leads to an epistemically humble and dispassionate conversation about the facts, which in turn leads to the surfacing and acceptance of good ideas, which in turn leads to a society free from tyranny.
It's freedom, baby, yeah!
And so if you ask me, that is where wisdom is. It's in a mode of being that proves to not only be beneficial to you, but to everyone around you. So for your key takeaways, here is a 3-point checklist for making sure you are sticking according to wisdom. Number 1, stay skeptical. Number 2, stay comfortable being wrong. And number 3, avoid tyranny.